A disabled transfer student arrived at school. One student deliberately threw the basketball, hitting Kevin's left foot. When the coach saw this, he asked who did it. The student immediately blamed Max, who was standing nearby. Although Max was tall and big, he had a severe intellectual disability. Max never argued when falsely accused. He simply followed the coach's instructions and helped Kevin up. But Kevin knew that Max wasn't the one who had thrown the ball, so he refused Max's help. Years ago, Max had witnessed his father murder his mother. Since then, he had been the way he was now. After losing his parents, Max had lived with his grandparents. Today, Max's grandmother told him that a new neighbor had moved in next door. The neighbor's son was about Max's age. Every weekend, Max did two things. One was helping his grandfather fix up the house. The other was attending reading tutoring sessions for those with reading difficulties. Today, Max had a new tutor, and it turned out to be Kevin. Although they had already met before, Kevin still introduced himself first. This was the first time Max responded to Kevin. Kevin took out a book from his bag called The Night King, but Max had trouble reading. So Kevin patiently read for Max and asked him to close his eyes and listen carefully. He told Max to use his imagination to connect the words to the images described in the story. At the end of the session, Kevin left the book with Max and asked him to read the first chapter at home. Before leaving, Max explained that he hadn't thrown the basketball. Kevin told him not to apologize, as he knew the truth. In the following weeks, Kevin encouraged Max to read on his own. The two became good friends. During their conversations, Max learned that Kevin had one wish: to see fireworks. But because of his physical condition, his mom didn't want him to go to crowded places. However, with Max's company, it should be fine. So the two friends went to the park to watch the fireworks. Coincidentally, a group of bullies was there too. They mocked Kevin and Max. Max didn't want trouble, so he tried to avoid them. But Kevin wasn't going to let the bullies get away with it. He sharply mocked them back. The bullies tried to approach, but park security stopped them. The fireworks show began. Since Kevin was small, Max didn't hesitate to lift him onto his shoulders. Although Max had seen fireworks before, he thought that night's display was the brightest and most beautiful he had ever seen. Just as they were about to leave, they were surrounded again by the bullies. At a critical moment, Kevin nudged Max. Without thinking, Max followed Kevin's direction and started running. It felt as though Kevin had become his brain and Max had become Kevin's legs. They worked together seamlessly, and the bullies couldn't catch up with them at all. Finally, they reached the park's small river. The bullies followed them, but when they saw the water, they hesitated to go in. By then, the police had arrived after receiving an alert. Max and Kevin had successfully escaped. When Max was sent home by the police, his grandparents thought he had done something wrong, but Kevin's mom came over to thank Max for his actions. Max's grandfather was proud of him, praising his bravery. From then on, the two friends became a part of each other's lives. One day, Kevin and his mom went for a routine checkup at the hospital. On the way home, he saw the same group of bullies stealing something.